Our department's a 4-officer department, all full-time. We're currently seeking reserves, obviously, and other future employees. We cover an area that's about, we have about 4,000 citizens. However, we do answer radio calls throughout Kern County, specifically in eastern Kern County and Tehachapi area. Essentially, the chief and I looked at the department's technological abilities and its actual physical abilities to store information, to store evidence, the handling of evidence, the handling of reports, and we found that the department was seriously lacking. So what we did was we went out to the different departments throughout the eastern Kern County area and looked at how they built their stations, and including their ability to store information, citations, daily field activity reports, arrest reports, and so forth, and their ability to file those items, as well as how they store their physical evidence and how they deal day to day with the influx of intelligence information coming into the department. So we were very fortunate in that the departments that we visited were forthright and honest about what they did wrong and what they did right in developing not only their stations but in how they handle their storage of information. And we took the good and the bad and we compiled it all into a very simple 3-ring binder. I presented it to the chief of police. He presented it then to our board, and our board presented to the community, and we were very lucky and blessed in that the community, and this always goes back to our ability to have a relationship with the community. They trusted us in saying, you know, obviously you guys do need this, and they passed a bond, and with that bond we were able to build a brand new police station. Because we essentially came out of the 1970s. We still stick to the basics as far as how we query information. In other words, we use the radio, but when you walk into our station, it's completely blanketed by audio and visual coverage. We know everything that's going on within our station. It has complete security now, and of course no system is foolproof, but we certainly have the ability to see what's going on in and around our station. We do electronic storage of all information. It's a tertiary system in that when the officer produces any type of document, be it a arrest report or citation that I scan in, whatever it is, it gets saved on the officer's personal computer, it gets saved on the station's hard drive, and then it gets saved off-site. So we, hopefully we never lose any of that information, but if one system goes down, we have another system that backs that system up. And then that goes with physical evidence as well. We're now able to enter physical evidence into a secure locking system, which is probably no big deal for anybody because I'm sure people have had it for hundreds of years. However, it goes into a secure storage area, and that information is electronically introduced into our system as well. So if an officer goes to court, oh gosh, that arrest was 5 years ago, I don't remember it, it's my 80 millionth dope arrest, and you can query the system, pull up it from that report number, and then you can go to our evidence tech and say, I need this particular item, or a photograph of it, and present it for court. Number one, the most important thing is your relationship with your community. The community has to trust the department. And I think the best way to gain a community's trust is if you tell the community you're going to do something, and this is just the officer answering a simple radio call. I'm going to take care of that problem for you. You take care of the problem, and whether you're able to take care of that problem or not, you call that person back or visit them again and say, here's what happened. It's just simple follow-up, and I think that's the foundation. Fortunately for me, I'm new to the department. I've been there now 3 years. Brad Burris, our chief, has been able to establish that relationship with the department. Gary Crowell, the other officer that's been there for a very long time, they started that thing. So I'm not going to say I stepped in and took advantage of it. What I am going to say is because those relationships were already established long before I got there, we were able to come together as a cohesive team, approach the community and says, this is what you guys really need for us to function. Not just to exceed your expectations, but just to function as a normal department. This is really what we need. So number one, the number one priority is the relationship. Number two is you really have to, the same relationships that you have with the community have to be established with other agencies. Again, that was already established long before I got there. So when we went to these different departments and spoke to the other chiefs of police, such as the Arvin Police Department, Farland Police Department, the Kern County Sheriff's Department, they were forthright immediately in telling us, here's what we did wrong, here's what we did right, and we were able to compile that information in a fairly simple binder and present it. So it really comes down to your relationships with other agencies, with the people within your community. I think the biggest thing. I don't think anything would have happened at all, even from scratch, from the get-go. We would have been shot down immediately if we didn't have those relationships. So, huge. Well, it's funny because here we are. We've finally come to from a fairly archaic department to a modern department. Where do we go from here? Okay, now we have all these devices. How do we expand on it? And if we are going to expand on it, what's the cost going to be? Interoperability is a huge thing. How are we going to have that interoperability with other departments and with federal agencies without spending huge amounts of money? So in sitting here, I've listened to other people give their presentations, listened to you guys talk about some different things. This is only really day one, and I've already picked up on numerous grants and numerous ideas that I'm going to have to query when I get back of how to get a hold of these funds to move on. Because really, I think technology, and I'm new to the whole technology thing, but it's obviously a constantly evolving thing, and you really have to stay up on it because something could become obsolete quite quickly. And if you're not on top of it, and if you don't have a way to pay for it, you're going to be out of the game. And it seems like a lot of these things we're not going to have to pay for. So I think it's crucial that no matter what size department you're in, or no matter where you are on that department, to attend these types of conferences. If not this one, then some other conference, but specifically this one, because everybody, whether it's a large department or small, seems to have the same problems. It's just staying on top of the game. And that's really important.